Commissioner Ayers, can you please lead the pledge?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here. Hurtado. Casper.
Here.
Bowling. Here. Steinies.
Present.
Lumen.
Here.
And Commissioner Hurtado and Commissioner Kazmark should be in attendance tonight, they'll just be late.
At this time, are there any public comments? Okay. If you could please come up to the podium here. In the mic.
Uh-oh, Batman's here.
No, thank you.
No? Okay. Any other public comments tonight?
I'll make one. Sorry. Oh, pardon.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm Vicki Polito. I live in Walker's Road. I'm sorry, I have to read this off my phone, so I forgot to print this out. Real quick note I wanted to mention was for anybody interested, PBS is currently running a series called The 10 That Changed America. And it's a 4-part series, and one of them is 10 Parks That Changed America, which is playing tomorrow night, I think. Yeah, and WGTW, it's like an hour and a half or something like that. And I think the focus is city parks, but I wanted to mention that because it might be an interesting program. And then, pardon me, I just wanted to clear up something that I wanted to be sure that everybody understood that I was the person in December, some of you remember, who brought the idea to the board of the rededication of this park that's on your agenda tonight. I wanted to be clear that Mr. Bott did not ask for this, and he wasn't being at all ungrateful. This was something that was my idea. It was something that was on my mind for quite a while. And what really kind of prompted bringing it up was the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the district, because all of the attendant events with that and plans, to me, put in focus how important it is to celebrate the district, to take joy and pride in the open spaces and recreation opportunities that we're all creating here together, and to honor with sincere respect anyone who devotes a decades-long career to the community, particularly when much of that career is spent in leadership. So that was it. This wasn't some sort of an ego play. This was something that was important to me. I was hoping it would be important to other people. But if it isn't, I understand that too. Everybody has a right to decide what's important to them. So that's all. I just want to make sure I cleared that up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
A motion was made by Commissioner Ayers and seconded by Commissioner Polling. Any discussion? No? Okay. Roll call.
Ayers.
Yes.
Newton.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Steinies.
Yes.
Lumen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is staff reports.
Good evening. Couple things. Right now, we do have the auditors out doing field work for the fiscal year that ended December 31st, 2015. That was the abbreviated fiscal year, so we'll be out here for the remainder of this week, and then we are anticipating a full audit report in June, correct, Maureen? Okay, with June. Additionally, I want to go over the PPD this week is currently celebrating the Week of the Young Child. We have program samplings going on every afternoon at our various facilities, like yesterday at the equestrian center where kids come up and pet the horses and walk through the stalls. We had approximately 35 people in attendance yesterday. I don't know what today was, but ultimately this will culminate in an event this Friday at 6:30 to 8 here at the Plainfield Township Community Center. We did receive our mascot costume this week. We are going with the mascot, as you keep seeing more and more. It's Scout the Fox. We're trying to put an identity a little bit more to our park district. We use him in our giveaways and promotional items. So we do have an actual, a mascot item, mascot costume that will be going out, so we can get drum up a little bit more identity and interaction with the public. The dance recital is scheduled for Sunday, May 8th, which shows at 11 a.m. and 5:30. Once again, I would encourage any commissioner that would like to attend, please let me know, and we will make sure you get complimentary tickets to go and participate. I know last year, if I'm not mistaken, Commissioner Steinies, you attended the dance recital at the Rialto with your spouse, and it's a very good presentation. So I would encourage any commissioner that would like to attend, please let me know. We have the Friends of the Plainfield Park District Foundation has their annual wine and beer tasting on April 23rd from 7 to 10 p.m. Up just north of MTech at 25151 119th Street. I will have that in your weekly update. Tickets are $25 in advance or can be purchased on site or at the office at $30. This is one of the events our foundation does to help drum up funds for the scholarship. There was something that came across my desk just today. We've been working in collaboration with the Forest Preserve, Will County Forest Preserve District, and trying to run some greater collaborative programming. And I received something from Ralph Schultz, who is now their Chief Operating Officer, wanting to thank us and actually commend the whole opportunity with the marketing between our agencies. The report he got on they're doing a bird hike at Lake Renwick Preserve for the migratory bird. They have 35 in attendance, which is a 300% increase over the hike attendance last year. So trying to put some of these better advertising within our district and how we work together has worked pretty well. And we're trying to continuously work in collaboration with our other agencies. The other thing I had tasked our senior graphic design artist, Corinne Vargas, to try to get us more out in the community. And one of the things I had asked her to investigate a little bit further after we had a little bit of some unsuccessful attempts last year was to work with Louis Joliet Mall. One of the things that's come out of that is they're trying to work a sole partnership with us in which we'll be doing pop-up events or small free events to the public within the mall, and we'll have promotional items as well as promotional advertisement in the mall at all times. Our first event that we will be doing with them will be May the 4th be with you on May 4th. We're doing a Star Wars event in collaboration with the mall. And I was actually on that committee, so that was actually something that was kind of fun. But we're trying to but this is a great way that with the general traffic the mall gets, we'll have identity put out in that quadrant and get more flow. So it's a great thing, and they're allowing us to put up more stanchion banners as we go on. We're still in the baby steps of this partnership, but we want it to grow into something as long as they're receptive and it works from both ends of how they can use us for an advertising tool, how we can use them for an advertising tool, and how we can become more active in a already draw section of our community. So that was a really good thing. And then finally, one of the things that's coming out, we obviously have some things that have been launched for our 50th anniversary. One of them is we have our time capsule vault that is at the Recreation Administration Office that we are taking suggestions as to what should go into that. We will be burying that vault, I believe,
October 22nd.
I just want to make sure the correct location. October 22nd at Renwick Park, in the bed that will be set to be opened in 50 years is our goal. When we do it, we'll do a resolution at that point. And we're trying to take suggestions which should go into there so that in 50 years people can have an idea of what we were doing today. It was one of the things the 50th anniversary came up with, and we're trying to get community input with that.
Do you think we should take a photo of all the commissioners? And have
We actually have that in our plans. There's some things the committee is looking for that's easy, but we also want to see what the public feels would be vital to go into that 50th anniversary vault. And in a way to generate advertise interaction within our parks, we've developed the 50th anniversary Oak Leaf Search, which basically between now and the end of August, you pick up one of these pamphlets, and it has a list of parks. You go into the parks and you find the years that are hidden throughout that, and you locate the years, and there's prize levels that go with this. We're trying to get people more invested in a lot of our, not only our marquee parks or our key parks, but also smaller parks like Vintage Harvest, Cumberland Park. So we're trying to get them out and about throughout the district. It's a total of, I think it's 15 parks that we've advertised, but I could be a little wrong. But it's our way of trying to get interaction going on with our 50th anniversary. So unless there's any questions, that's some of the stuff we're doing right now. I will say one thing before Jen starts her report. Jen, can you give us a quick update on the DuPage River Bridge? I know you've had some conversation with them.
Yeah, I spoke with the engineering company last week, and we are on schedule to start the mobilization early May. So I haven't gotten the official revised schedule of this, that's just the unofficial version of it, but from conversations going on, mobilization coming early May. So we're set to go.
And now, following that, Jen is our monthly presenter. She's going to be giving us a little update on the basically annual review and update of the Parks and Planning Department.
Well, I was asked when I first walked in to make it really quick, but the pros would make it slow, so we'll just go from there. So before I go off of this first page, I don't know how many of you have had a chance to actually go past Lockport Street. But if you do drive down Lockport in front of the Four Seasons Park, you'll notice we do have a couple of our new signs up at some of our key parks, Eden Preserve, Northwest Community. Later on in May, we'll be rolling out a 50th, I think it's on May 1st actually, it's a boulder with a 50th anniversary plaque. And that plaque's going to be installed in front of the signs at Renwick Community and Four Seasons. When we were laying this out last year, we thought daffodils would be really nice, but spring came so early. The daffodils are really nice now, they may not be so nice come May 1st. So we are going to be adding some yellow annual flowers to kind of get that a pop. But one of the things we're going to be looking at doing this year and going into fall is, as we get into some of our priority parks, I want to do a little bit more of an enhanced planting. So similar to what you see here, whether or not it just becomes bulbs for next fall, just to add that little plastic color at some of our key locations. It's pretty easy to maintain, you really don't have to be watered when they're bulbs, and it gives it that nice presence, that nice pop first thing.
Gee, I thought I was told I was gonna have to maintain all the daffodils because they were so hard to maintain.
We kept them slow, 2 parts, we're good right now.
Yeah, it's kind of funny there too, because there were some daffodil bulbs in there from years past, so there's like a few of those that are pale yellow, and then most of them are bright yellow, but they blend in, and I think they look pretty nice.
They look beautiful. It's wonderful to see some spring bulbs.
Yeah, we'll try to do a little bit
Also
more.
in the village green, there's some
Yes.
daffodils.
Mhm. Yeah, Village Green, Renwick looks pretty nice. We need to add a few more. Easy pops. So some of the things we've done so far since the beginning of 2016, so over this winter, starting in January, there were a couple projects that we tried to wrap up or take care of before we get into our busy season, which is spring, summer, and fall. So we wrapped up the horse shelters this year. That was something that Amanda had gotten a grant for. I don't think it was last year, I think it was the previous year, or maybe it was last year.
Early last year. I think.
Early last year. So we finally got those knocked out this year, and a big kudos goes to James Conlon and to Ed Newton for working so hard to get those put together. Part of the cool feature of that is, I don't know if you remember, but last year we took down some old light poles over at Van Horn Woods, and instead of throwing out the reason we had to replace those, I should say, is that the bases had rusted. So at the bottom of it, where you get the salt spray and stuff, had rusted out. But the rest of the poles, which I believe were about 15 to 20 feet tall, were in relatively good condition. So what they did is they cut those poles down and used them as the base frame for the structures themselves. It gives them a little bit of weight, and then it also prevents that rotting and stuff that we can just regular timber. So trying to reuse what we had, and like I said, big kudos to those two for coming up with that option. We also now have 3 certified playground inspectors on staff. We have 2 certified pool operators, thank goodness. We redid the picnic tables over at Village Green. So if you happen to be over at Village Green and you see the shelter, you'll notice that the picnic tables that are out there are completely different from what we've done in the past. We've tried to put a thick polyurethane on them as kind of a test to see if that will help us to keep them clean, to help with the vandalism, to make it easier to clean up the graffiti. So it's worked in some other park districts. We may need to add an extra coat or whatnot, but it's kind of our test cycle this year to see how Village Green works out. Also, as you see there at Whisper Berlin, one of the other things we've been doing is going around to our parks. We started in the southwest quadrant, and we've moved into the southeast quadrant, and trying to update our park district logo onto our existing park signs. So over this winter, the guys were bringing in the signs, cleaning them all up, sanding them down, repainting them, and then installing a metal plaque over the old logo. So the old logo would be ground down and installing the metal plaque. So far, I think we've only had we've installed maybe 35 signs. I think we had one incident where we had to go back and fix the sign where we had a little bit of vandalism. The cost savings to the district on this is to replace the actual wooden signs is about $700 to $800 a piece. The metal plaque is about $35. So that's what they're looking like right now. As you go around to the different parks, and like this is the southwest side and the southeast side, you'll start to see those pop up. We also did a few of the key areas, the reserves, where we had high profile. We've been working that in. We're still working on our management software, so we're doing a beta test right now with the, rolling out the work order system, double checking to see how well we can track it. We do have all of the parks in the system at this point. And then we have all of the playgrounds and probably about 90% of the features of those parks inside the system at this point. The next stage is to actually start with equipment, so starting loading into our trucks and our trailers and our chippers and all that kind of stuff. One of the things we're going to do this year, a little bit different than we've done in the past, is with the grounds department. So last year with the grounds department, we basically ran two shops. We had a north shop and we had the Mather Woods shop. And the gentleman who ran out of Mather Woods took care of the south end of town. They did all of the mowing and they did all of the playground inspections and any of the maintenance that needed to be taken care of in general on the south end, and same thing for north shop. This year what we're going to take a look at doing is trying to run mowing under one supervisor. So under Keith Miller, the majority of that would run out of Mather Woods. And then take Brett Smith, who is our other supervisor, and have him focus more on park improvements. So we kind of felt last year with the supervisors and the managers trying to juggle both the mowing and the park improvements, what happened was mowing was very, very important and park improvements fell behind. And that's where you started to see issues with the weeds, issues with the overall presentation of the plant beds, issues with grass on sidewalks, weeds in playgrounds. The guys were in such a rush to get the mowing done that there wasn't a crew that was really focused and dedicated to just making sure everything was as nice as it should be. So this year we're going to try to split that up. So Brett Smith and the grounds department, they'll run out of Four Seasons. Mowing's out of Mathers with the exception of one specialty mowing group. So we're going to have one specialty mowing group that will run out of Four Seasons, not Four Caesars, that would be nice. They'll be running out of Four Seasons. They'll be focusing on our sports fields and our priority parks. So making sure that we hit those fields, our baseball fields and our soccer fields, with a 6-foot mower, which does a better cut. So the fields themselves, the outlying areas, I should say, of the fields will still be mowed by either a 16 or an 11 foot. But the fields themselves would have a 6-foot cut, which gives you less windrows, and just a better, smoother, more even cut than you can get with a 16-foot. So we're going to see how that goes this year. We're off to a fast start. Spring has come a little bit faster than anticipated, so we're scrambling, but they're moving along. Oh, and I guess I could go over all my other notes. Some of the other things I'll be working on in the grounds department is we have additional trees to remove, so there's probably about 30 trees that have to come down at Advanced Roads just on the east side. So the side that is over by I-55, there's about 30 dead ash in there. So that is one thing the guys will be taking care of this spring or summer when things start to slow down a little bit. We also have 30 playgrounds that we've got on our list to have the play mulch upgraded or filled back in. And that's just going to be a continuous cycle. Hopefully in the years to come it won't have to be 30 playgrounds each year. We'll just get it on a regular cycle, but right now trying to catch up from where we are, it's about 30 playgrounds that we've estimated we'll need to have the new play mulch put in. And then shelter painting. Some of the areas we'll be focusing on this year would be trying to update those shelters, like over at Electric Park. If you haven't been over there recently, you'll notice the beams on the park shelter are in pretty rough condition. The district spent a lot of money last year putting in the new pathways and kind of fixing up that park. This is the next step into that, is kind of fixing those areas up. Just a few other projects that we'll be working on this year. One is the Avery Preserve. We have it, for those who may not know, we have a disc golf over at Avery Preserve, which over the years has kind of suffered. It's kind of fallen into a little bit of disrepair. So one of the things in the budget this year is to update the signage out there and redo the course. So clean up the course and make it a more usable course. So that's a picture of what actually our better signage existing looks like right now, and this is kind of an idea of what we're going with for the new signage. We will be looking at doing some additional prescribed burns. We'll probably do just like this year, we'll probably go fall and spring. We're looking at Clow Stevens, Auburn Lakes, Riverview, and the Ponds. Riverview is that park that is along 59. Is in pretty serious condition. Seal coating, we will be doing some seal coating, contractor seal coating for the parking lots. So the Norman, the Equestrian Center, Daisy, and Northwest Community, I think are my 3 that are slated for contractors to go in and do the parking lot striping. And then we're currently talking with Sealmaster. They have a rental program where you can rent a seal coating machine and even the crack filling machine. We've been talking to them about that, and we think it's possible that the district could actually rent those machines and do fort bags this year. We want to try the rental first to see how well it works out, see how well staff does with those types of machines before we investigate a little bit further into actually making that purchase. But right now, fort bags in Van Horn, the west side over by the soccer fields, those are the 2 pathways that we're looking to try to do some seal coating of pathways in-house. Just a brief overview of what's going on with fleet. So as we're breaking things up a little bit in parts, Joe Masters is the manager for fleet and facilities. So as we've moved in with Paderma has a whole list of safety requirements and inspections and all sorts of forms that they like to see done. One of the things they like is a 360 inspection on vehicles. So that means when you get into your vehicle, before you drive off, you just do a quick walk around to just make sure everything's okay. Same thing goes for trailers. So one of the things we've worked on right here, this is hard for you to read, but it's the typical truck vehicle inspection. So it's asking before you get in that you check to make sure that the tires look okay, that you don't notice if there's any dents or body damage to the vehicle, that you make a note of that. If you happen to be driving, these clipboards will be kept in the vehicles. If you happen to be driving, you notice the turn signal starts ticking real fast. What we want you to do is make a note of that and turn those sheets in at the end of every day so they get back to Joe and he can make sure those vehicles are taken care of as soon as possible. There's a similar one that goes with a trailer. That basically requires you to walk around and verify that your tail lights work, that your brake lights work, those kind of safety inspections. I'm not sure if everyone knows this or not, but starting in January of this year, custodial services for district facilities moved in-house. So prior to 2016, we contracted out for all of our cleaning at both the admin building, the HPC, the streams. Right now, we've brought that in-house, and I think we've been doing a very good job with that. So we're moving along in that direction. We are also looking to move fleet from Four Seasons up to the North Shop. North Shop has a lot of potential indoor space where we could store mowers and trucks, and we do. Right now during the winter, all of our mowers stay over at North Shop. So the thought is trying to free up some space in the Four Seasons shop so that we can use that for more landscape and grounds related work, and moving fleet up to the North Shop where they can take advantage of the more indoor environment that they can get up there. And with construction and trades, at Newton, this year we are going to try to install, or I shouldn't say we're going to try, we are going to install our first in-house playground. So Ed has had some experience with this in the past with his previous employment. We're going to work with Grand Prairie Tot Lot. We're not going to do the concrete, we're going to do the playground installation. So you'll notice later on this week that Grand Prairie and Walker's Grove are currently out to bid. The installation is separate on that bid. So the Park District is going to do the installation. It's a small playground, it's a 2 to 5, it's a good place for us to start to make sure that staff and everybody's comfortable with it and move on from there. We'll also be working on, our construction and trades will also be working on our ADA transition plan. So right now what we want to do is kind of focus on finishing off the administration building, the streams building, and then starting to take a look at some of our other public use facilities like the Mather Woods restrooms and the Renwick restrooms. So if you do manage to go through the 80-some-odd page document that is the ADA transition plan, you'll notice there's a lot of items in there for restrooms, and just general improvement, grab bar locations, paper towel dispensers, door closures, gaps in order to get into a restroom facility, so the threshold is a little bit too high, that kind of stuff. So that'll be that part of that focus this year, and then also, there's a good portion of the ADA that is wrapped into our capital plan, so that all 3 of the playgrounds, Lakewood on Caton still has to go out for bid. We'll also have an ADA component to those where they're addressing all of those. Any questions?
Okay, I got a couple questions.
Sure.
Van Horn Park had a few residents and so parents requesting when there was going to be a double gate for the dog park be installed, and
A
also
double gate for the dog park?
and
That-
also, I'm sorry, and plus also the mud pit that's in the back of the park. It's been there for a long time. They want to know when it's going to be backfilled or even seeded grass, so the dogs will get messed up back there.
I haven't taken a look at the mud. I have not looked at the mud pit. I have discussed the bullpen. So we do have some designs for the bullpen area. That's what you call the double gate.
Yes.
So basically, you walk in, there's an enclosure, about a 10 by 10 enclosure, then you go into the second. So we do have the designs for the bullpen, and that is something we'll be trying to get taken care of this year. The mud pit, I'll have to go back
Okay,
and just
it's
take a
towards
good
the
look at that.
back corner.
The back corner?
Yes.
Okay,
Also, one more thing,
Sure.
Van Horn, the BMX, the people were,
yes.
the residents are requesting about who maintains it.
I can answer that more than, right now it's Camber West. It's a mountain bike group that we have an intergovernmental, or we have an agreement with, and part of the agreement is they maintain it. So when I first got here, that agreement had kind of lapsed a little, I shouldn't say lapsed, but they weren't holding up their end. We started communicating again, and now they're taken care of. You see some renovations going on to it. We maintain the turf on the inside, but they maintain the design of the park.
Well, the residents been questioning the condition of it, so.
Yeah, and that's what you should see, if you go out there now, you see a lot of tarps and things over it, in the last several weeks, because what they're doing is they're building up and compacting, and then they're trying to keep it dry so it doesn't erode away until it forms up. So they are doing, since I would say about the last 8 months is when we got the contact back in place. It had lapsed for a while, and they've been working diligently, I would say, doing their portion of it, what they're supposed to maintain it.
And last question, regards to early spring and so forth, is the park ever been interested or looking into possibly nurturing, raising their own trees, since we're losing trees left and right in regards to diseases and insects and so forth, possibly setting up an area, to basically raise their own trees.
I would say, I don't think we've looked at it in detail at this point, but it is something that we can investigate in the future to see.
We used to have one area, I'm sorry,
Oh,
John.
that's okay.
No, we used to have an area that we attempted to do this at one point,
Okay.
and we lost all our trees at that point. There were some errors. So right now, we've talked about that in the past, and
Oh,
we've,
working on
it's,
your protected areas. and
right.
such,
It's something that on our range plan,
Okay.
for more consideration, right now, our biggest focus is just trying to get to the point where we're at an even stable condition moving forward. We're not playing catch up anymore. So that's because we add another thing at this point that we're maintaining, and I talked with Mimi a little bit about this. There's more detail that goes into maintaining the trees and more time and consideration. So I don't want to put another onus on us right now,
Okay.
but it doesn't mean in the future that's not something we might
Do
aggressively.
we have anything in plan in regards to planting any trees this spring, in regards to
This spring,
remove
yes.
some of the barren areas?
Oh, yeah. We had put that into the budget like we did last year to do not a mass planting, but well, I should say kind of a mini mass planting where we're gonna hit several areas. But yeah, we did several areas last year, towards the end of the calendar year, I think around October.
Renwick, and just off the top of my head, Renwick and Northwest Community are two of the parks that are probably get the most trees. If you do go into those parks, you'll notice that in the parking lot, every tree is gone, with the exception of 2 at Northwest that got replanted. So those were all stump ground and removed, and those are slated this year to be. Not all of those replanted. We'll probably do a lighter planting in the parking lots, maybe 1 tree per island versus 2 trees per island. But we are planning to do some.
Is there any
revisions too.
federal grants or things of that sort in regards to,
We-
they always promote
Yeah.
all this free tree planting and so forth, and volunteers to help out?
We've investigated a few that's come through.
Uh-huh.
One was, it turned out to be more saplings that came through.
And I'm on the waiting list for that.
And, exactly, so we have, as things come across our desks and we see things that come around, or hear about it throughout our field, yes, we do investigate. It's just, there's, right now, like Jen said, we put ourselves on a waiting list so we can at least start with something and try to build.
Is there a minimum size tree that you plant,
Idealistically,
like the
or-
starting size, or?
I was gonna say, we have an idealistic size, but
I probably, right around 2.5 inch,
Well,